Hi, this is Ronnie, and this is How to Kill a Kit with Style, August 2019. And I'm going to be using it's three pictures there, and it's when the kids caught a toad out in the yard. And, um, I'm showing there that I added that to my kit for the month. I found it while I was looking for something else, and the colors went real well. So I thought I'd just go ahead and add it. And I'm going to try to use something out of it today. That yellow piece there is a scrap from, I think, my last layout out of the kit. And I thought, well, I can just save it as is and use it. And my intentions were right here to gut the part that was going to go behind the picture. But I forgot. So you will see me struggle to gut it later. But I'm going to end up putting all three pictures on without doing it. And it's not super hard to gut it later, but I should have thought of it before I got that far. And there I thought about using that red because it matches the lid pretty good. But the more I looked at it, the more I thought, no, I think I'll use white. So I got a piece of scrap white out. And all I'm going to do is cut like probably a 3/4 of an inch for each side and go down the side to kind of fake it out, looking like the piece of white's behind all the pictures all the way across. And how I decided how I was going to layer my pictures, stagger them there, or put one on top of the other, I decided the frog needed to be down towards the front so you could actually see it pretty good, since it looks like a close-up, towards the bottom of the page. And then the next picture up has Charlie in it. The other picture does not. It just has three of the kids. And I decided I wanted the one with all four in the next one. And Charlie almost isn't in that picture either. I must not have been doing a very good job of taking pictures. She's probably standing right there when I took them. These are several years old, so I am not sure. But yeah, that one's going to be on top, and then the one with Charlie next, and then the close-up. And I thought about going ahead and putting a whole piece of paper behind them and trimming them off and having the little gap, which is what I prefer. But I couldn't see where I could crop either of the two pictures with the kids without cropping something I didn't want to be cropped off. So I just went ahead and left them as they were. And I'm looking at the paper pad, and what I'm going to do, you can see that punch over to the right hand side. It's HTKAKWS, and I think it's called Squiggly Eyes or something like that. I've had it for a few years. I looked at it for a long time and thought, am I really going to need that very often? And I have used it more than you would think. It's never cut super great. Of course, I didn't use it as soon as I got it, or I might have returned it. But it has like little fuzzy edges. But it still does the job, and it still looks cute. I am going to take a 1-inch punch and do the white part of the eyes. And when I was playing in this video back and watching it just now, I thought, man, I need to go back and highlight the eyes with some white. So I'm going to use my white gel pen, and I'm going to put some highlights in those eyes, which I haven't done yet, so it's not in the pictures like that. But yeah, I'm going to take and just give a little bit of highlight in both of them. It's what I usually do, but I just happened to not think of it this time. But yeah, there's my two eyes, and I'm going to make a frog. Now that frog in the jar, he looks pretty somber, like, won't these kids leave me alone? Just leave me alone. I'm testing my eyes there and deciding which oval I need to use. I thought about just drawing it freehanded and cutting the pieces out. But then I thought, well, I think I could do it with my oval cutters. And these are from Creative Memories. And, of course, they have the oval and circle and different shapes that you can get. I think these are still available. The cutters, they come in 3 sizes. And there I start to use the green, I change my mind. I look at it and think, no, I'm going to use the blue. Well, I'm going to have to turn around and use the green after all because the blue looks just a little bit too small, and the green looks, it'll make it just a little bit bigger. So I'm going to go ahead and use the green. And I tried to keep my lines horizontal when I was cutting out so they would match and not be every which direction, because this is a light pinstripe green, and since it's a 6x6 paper, the stripes are smaller than the one with the big 12x12. And that is close to my heart ink. It is green clover, I believe, and I'm going to ink the edges on it. I tested it out on the piece of the scrap paper, and I thought it looked pretty good, so now I'm just going to go ahead and ink all the edges of all the pieces of the frog as I go. I thought about using wet glue there, but I thought, well, this may not work, and if I pull it apart, I don't want to waste too much paper. And so I just went ahead and used the ATG. And there I'm inking the eyes. I know they're not green, but the white behind it is, and it was kind of showing up. So I just went ahead and inked it, and they didn't show up near as much after I did that. I thought about doing black, but I thought, might as well just use the green. I think it'll go ahead and work. And those are his eyelids. Like I said, he looks kind of somber. My frog does not look somber when I get done because I do put a smile on it. But his lids kind of look heavy, so I just went ahead and went with that. And when I was punching them out, I started to do the whole circle and cut it in half. But I thought I might not get it quite in half, and I wanted both eyes about the same. And the back of my punch I have marked with a Sharpie where the center is, and so I cut both of them on the center line in my punch. And I did use wet glue to go ahead and put the eyeballs on because they looked like they were fitting all right. I'm going to punch the hands, and I know they're not going to look like hands because this is kind of like a caricature of a frog. They're just going to be round circles. I did them in 1/2 inch, but I did try the 3/4 inch after I finished my layout because I got to looking at it thinking, well, they look kind of small, but the 3/4 look way too, the 1 inch looked way too big then, and I don't have anything in between as far as a punch goes, so I just went ahead and left them smaller. And here I'm doing the mouth, and all I did there was use those circle cutters, and I cut out part of the same circle I did the face with, and I used the green first, which would be the inside part, and then I used the red to cut the outside part, and it just made the thin line. And here I'm cutting both of these pieces the same size. It's going to be part of the grin, but I'm going to ink them both, I think, and everything, and go to try to put it on there. And it looks a little bit too much, and you'll see that in a second. Yeah, I'm inking them both, which if I just went ahead and tried the first one, I would have not had to ink the second one. But yeah, it looks like just a little too much on his grin there. I don't know if frogs have a nose or not. I didn't even think of that when I was doing it. I just did the mouth. But yeah, now I'm thinking about a nose. Do they have a nose? I don't know. But he looks fine without it. And see, there's where I put it on, and it just looks like a little bit too much. And so I'm going to cut it down, and the other one too. I'm going to cut this one down first, thinking I'm cutting it in half. But then when I got done cutting it, I thought one size looks bigger than the other, and I wanted them to look the same size. So I'm going to end up laying the one that I'm going to use right on top of the other one and make it the same size that way. And I'm going to end up inking the other part of the mouth. See how light that part is? It needs more, so it's darker, so it's going to show up better. Then see how much darker the edges are? I want this middle part of the mouth to look the same. When I first started scrapbooking, I did a lot of paper piecing on my pages. It wasn't until after I started watching YouTube videos that I didn't quite do as much. I didn't even have an ephemera pack until I started YouTube videos. I did have stickers, but I hadn't even heard of it, and they didn't even have them at the scrapbook store here in town. So that was something I learned really quick from YouTube. And now I'm using the Stampin' Up ink. It's a pink color, and I'm gonna make his cheeks a little rosy. I don't know if it's a boy or it's a girl. The frog, the toad that's in the jar, I don't know. But I made his cheeks rosy, and afterwards I thought I should have laid the mouth back down there when I was doing that, because what if they're just way far away from the mouth? I just have to make the mouth again. But nope, it came out like I got them right there in the right spot. And I could have left it like that instead of putting the other part of the grin, but I thought it looked cute with the other part on there. And yeah, I couldn't find my good tweezers. I had to use these, and you got to hold them really tight like you normally do tweezers. Yeah, they're kind of awkward to use since I'm used to using the others. I figure it fell underneath my table and I need to get them. And this is when I decided I'm going to go ahead and put some hands on, and I tried one punch and it looked way too little. So then I tried the 3/4 inch, and I thought it looked okay. And like I said, I tried the 1 inch after I finished the video when I was taking a picture, and it was just a little too much. So the 3/4 inch is what I ended up using, and I cut it out of the green pinstripe paper too. And of course I'm going to ink it along with it, but and I know his hands probably should have fingers because frogs do. But I'm going to go for the mitten look, I guess, because I'm just going to have a circle there instead. And to kind of represent hands instead of them actually being hands, because I didn't think I'd do very good at making fingers. So I'm going to go for the simple look. Little round circle, that's it. And I am inking them up, and I do get a little more ink on them than I do the rest of the frog. I think I was trying to smooth out the edges because somehow I got some straight lines in there, and I was trying to get them out, and I don't quite get them all out, but I went ahead and went with it. I'm going to adhere his hands straight down to the page, and my thinking while I'm doing this is, like that's a picket fence or something, a wall that he's looking over the top of, and his hands are like caught on the side. And then I'm going to adhere the head itself with dimensional tape, foam tape, so that it'll stick up a little bit higher than the hands do. And I don't know about you, but the humidity is super high here, and when I was doing that, the tape was sticking to my fingers, and I was having a hard time getting it on there. So I just went ahead and cut it out, and besides, part of it was out of screen. You all put adhesive dimensional tape on your pages, so I just went ahead and cut it out. And here's where I remembered when I picked that pen up that I was going to cut out some of this to use on the page, because that's the last of the yellow gingham that I have. And so I'm going to go back and do that. It's going to wrinkle it a little bit, but I think it's going to be all right. And all I did is put this picture right back where I found it. And I'm going to make a tag with the gingham. I wasn't sure what I was going to make when I was telling myself to save it and actually cut it out, but I do end up making a tag with it. And here I'm going to start the title, and the title, I'm going to use those little tile ones and have he is and have them smaller, and then totally lovable, and a play on the word toad. And the reason I'm doing that title, several titles went through my mind. Totally adorable, totally cute. But then I thought, he's neither one of those. He's kind of an ugly, solemn looking frog. So since I told him that they had to let him go at the end of the day, they were like, but we love him. And I said, well, if you love him, you need to let him go. He needs to get home to his family. I decided to make the title Totally Loveable. And there's my tag, and I was out of frame when I was cutting it, so I just went ahead and cut that part out. And I used my We Are Memory Keepers reinforcer punch for the tag, and I used also the little pinstripe green on there to bring some of it up into that area too. And this is not exactly twine, it's jute. So it's a little bit stiffer than twine is. So you're going to see me add some glue to the back. And the reason I'm doing that is because it's stiffer, it'll start coming loose, I've noticed. And I've had to go back in and adjust and end up gluing it down anyway. So I am just going to glue it down to start with to hold it in place so that I can not have to go back later. But yeah, I'm going to hang it upside down there. And here I'm pulling in those chipboard stickers. That's Amy Tan from 2013. And I'm using that camera, and I'm thinking first that that's, something black, and that's why you see me put it down there at the bottom first. But it's mostly grays. Even the black, the darker part looks like a dark gray. So I decided I'll just go ahead and put it up with the tag and find something else black. And that little arrow I'm putting on right now is not going to stay there. And the reason is, right after I put it there, I seen this arrow. And this arrow says, pretty darn cool, and points to the frog. So I take the orange one off. And I did try to use it up there in another place, but yeah, and there's another arrow, and it was gray, and it matched the camera pretty good, but I didn't like it there either. And here's where I add some black with that heart. And if I'd remembered the flare, my mind's eye flare that I'd pulled up earlier, I wouldn't have been using that there. I would have just left the tag off because I was trying to put the black there, and I wouldn't have to, but I end up leaving it because it's already there and I've already got it made. And I cut this out to add just a little more black there, and the part that I cut out says, I do believe it's time for another adventure. And I'm going to save the little ice skate for another layout where my granddaughter's at the skating rink. And besides 3 little enamel dots, that's all I'm going to put on my tag. And then I'm going to go ahead and do that now. I'm going to go ahead and put the tag on there, and then I'm going to cut the excess off. And I really like how my layout's turning out. I know a lot of people don't like doing themed layouts, but me, I love doing theme layouts. My grandkids love themed layouts. Like if they do look at one of my layouts and it has something, like let's say that frog, they'll say, why didn't you put a frog on there? So they like theme layouts too. And if they're here helping me, a lot of times they have been. Sometimes they even help with the title. I'll think about one thing and I'll say, I think I'm going to name it that. And they'll get to thinking about something. They'll say, why don't you put this instead? So since it's their layout, I'll go ahead and put what they want if they're here. If they're not, I just go for it. And I'm looking through here. Oh, and this is when I see the flare. So I take that other one off, that little heart, the green heart, and I put it back on the chipboard sheet, and I'm going to use that flare. And I did not know that I know I've had them for years, that they had a pin in the back. So I had to take it to my toolbox and cut the pin off. And then I had to put 2 layers of the foam tape there because one was not enough, just to make it stick. And these enamel dots is the last thing that I put on my page, and I put 3 in each cluster. And I only have 1 big one, so the 2 smaller clusters are getting the smaller enamel dots, and the big one's the only one that's going to have all 3 sizes, because I don't have all 3 sizes anymore. Maybe I used them. I don't know. But that's my layout. And I will leave a link below for everybody else doing the How to Kill a Kit with Style this month. And if you leave a comment, I will be sure to reply. I love the interaction of the comment section on YouTube. And if you like my video, I'd love it if you hit the thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. Have a happy, scrappy week. Bye.